Hi everyone, this is Sandra. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is another brush pen video. These are the Marvy Colorin brush pens. I actually got these before I got the Marvy Le Plume 2, and the reason is because they actually were a little bit cheaper. And I was very curious about these markers because I was watching a video by Ensign Insights. I'm going to link her channel for you. She's one of the top kind of like brush pen artists, and I just love watching her letter. So I was very intrigued by these markers and I wanted to try them out for myself. So I'm going to show you, I'm just going to go through the colors first and then we're going to talk about them. I just want to point this out. It just says Marvy Colorin marker made in Japan, but there's no number, and there's a number, but this is the same number on all of them. There's no individual number, there's no color. So I'm just going to write the word hello. Let's go through the colors and then we'll kind of talk about them at the end. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to say about these markers is that the color selection is great. I did buy them all in separate packs, but I think they were cheaper than the Marvy Le Plume. I'm thinking about $10 to $15 each on Amazon, and keep in mind that's Amazon.ca and the prices tend to change all the time. Now, looking at the colors here, I don't have any repeats, so I'm looking at the color of the barrels, and the color of the barrels don't really match the color of the ink itself. Some of them are off a little bit. So I notice, for instance, like these two look very similar, but the barrel color is completely different. The same with these and the same with these. But again, the barrel color is different. That's one thing I've noticed, is that it seems that there's some repetition in the color itself. Now, if I get into the actual brush tip of the marker and the size of the marker, let's use blue today. So let's compare it to a Tombow. This is the size of the Tombow here, and this is the size of the Marvy Colorin. So they're this tiny little marker that you would expect to be maybe a small brush pen, or I guess almost like the Marvy Le Pen Flex, but it's huge. I definitely classify it as a large brush pen. And now let's kind of get into the size difference here. So you can see by the nib, it's very, very flexible, but it has an excellent bounce back. So I've actually practiced with these a lot because I find that they're actually more difficult than I thought to work with, but I'm also very surprised because usually a floppy marker like this will not have very good bounce back. So if I press the hardest, so this is the thickest downstroke that I can get, which is huge. I mean, compared to the Tombow, let's actually write this out. So this is Marvy Colorin, and this is the Tombow dual brush pen. Okay, so this is the Marvy Colorin, this is the downstroke on the Tombow. So if anything, it almost looks like you can get a larger downstroke with the Marvy Colorin, which is crazy because Tombows are a huge brush pen nib. If I compare the nibs, the Marvy Colorin is actually smaller physically than the Tombow. So the next thing, would be just to kind of, now this is kind of where I find it hard. So you can actually get thinner downstrokes, but then it becomes inconsistent because it's hard to control, I guess, the push of the pen. So if you're going to go all in, you can get a consistent downstroke, but if you just kind of do it halfway, sometimes it's not always consistent. So the upstroke, because it has a really good bounce back and the tip doesn't fray that well, like that easy, sorry. I've used these markers a lot because I've been practicing with them because I want to challenge myself to become a better brush pen artist. So you can get a very, very thin upstroke. And in comparison, the Tombow, I find Tombow is, because it's a firmer nib, it doesn't have as much flex. It's easier to get thinner downstrokes if you choose. Upstrokes, again, there have to be probably the same because the tip doesn't fray that easy and it stays nice and firm. So now if I'm going to actually go ahead and use a Tombow blender on both of these and just show you how much the color spreads. So we'll get rid of that color off of there and then do it here as well. So they're similar. I think the Tombow has more a little bit because they're meant for that. And this paper isn't the best paper to do this on either, although I wouldn't use these, like either of these markers on like watercolor paper, if that makes sense, because you just destroy your brush pen nib. But these, I don't know, like they're kind of neat. They're very interesting anyway. I'll just write out the word Colorin here, or I guess Marvy Colorin. So sometimes if you're not careful, if you lift the brush pen too quickly, you can get this weird inconsistency. So you can just touch it up if you want to. I guess the main thing, so when you're doing lettering, the main thing is to take your time, not to rush through it. And these, I almost find that you have to go even a little bit more slow just to get the consistency and the downward stroke. But with Tombow, I find them easier to control. And I don't know if I could do bouncy lettering with the Marvy Colorin. Let's see. Okay, you can, but again, it's a little bit more difficult to control than the Tombow. So for a beginner, I'm not sure I would recommend these pens, but they are interesting. If you're looking for a cheap alternative and you want to try them, I highly recommend because it's nice to see like the different types of brush pens available. I like how small they are, so they're very convenient to kind of put in a bag. Sometimes I will use them as like a filler in to color one of my spreads. But again, I try not to make that a habit because I don't want to destroy the brush nib. I think I did that with my red and green one. And I use them for Christmas, and you can see they're not really, I guess they're a little bit more frayed than the other ones would be, but not that bad. I think I used the green one as well. So overall, again, they're not my favorite brush pen, but I'm glad that I have them just to kind of get a different look. Sometimes if you want like a thicker downstroke, they're kind of cool. But again, if you can kind of see, I don't know if you can see from this angle or not, but if I bend the pen, it's literally a 90-degree angle from the body of the pen. I can bend it 90 degrees, which is ridiculous because a Tombow, you can only maybe 45-degree bend, maybe like the first quarter of the tip. So it's just very interesting how these brush pens are made. And again, I think there's a very inconsistent downstroke, even if oh, and this one probably needs to be pushed back in a little bit. There we go. But the difference between the downstroke and the upstroke is kind of where it counts, and that's where you're going to see the main difference. But see, here's that inconsistency I was telling you about. So if I go down and then I go up, there's that little, like, I don't know what you call that, but it bugs me, and I don't know how. Without pressing like all the way down, you can just press like a little bit down. But yeah, you're definitely going to get a little bit less consistent downstrokes with these. That is the video on my Marvy Colorin brush pens. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you liked it. Please, if you're new here, subscribe to my channel because it would help me out so much. And also don't forget to hit that bell button. That will notify you every time I post a new video. So until next time, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. We'll talk to you soon. Bye now.